Emphasizing the prehistoric period, we would like to start by talking about the importance of communication in the human life. First of all, it's nice to highlight that this communication was largely done through sounds, like whistles, drums, clapping, etc. Most of them were intended to assist in hunting, art, music, among others. After sounds were improved, speech was born. Now the spread of speech happened among civilizations. With the advent of syllabic language, brands were established, and then different people spoke different languages. A culture abyss was created. As a solution, certain languages were disseminated as a second option and used regionally even by non-native speakers. This happened in Egypt, in the Turkish Empire, in China, etc. But it was in the Middle Ages that this practice received a scientific term, lingua franca. The term lingua franca was used to describe the way traders used it to communicate in the Eastern Mediterranean. The term was an union of lingua, which exactly means tongue, and franca, which means francos, as Western Europeans were known during the era of the Byzantine Empire. The lingua franca was widely used in Europe during the Renaissance and the beginning of the 18th century. Lingua franca became the main intermediary between people with different languages, even facilitating the spread of knowledge among people. Over time, numerous language was considered as a lingua franca, regionally, continentally, or worldwide. Let's know some of them. One of the most famous, the Greek language. Much of the importance of this language comes from the great influence of the Greek Empire. The military power, their infrastructure, their scientific knowledge in math, philosophy, music, all this influence made the Greek an important lingua franca in the past. But today, Greek is a poorly expressive language, only spoken in 3 countries. The next one is Latin language. Basically, it was one of the most respected languages of the medieval era. The influences of Latin can be expressed by authority of religion. Spoken by the Church as a first language, the Latin gained adherents who wanted to understand the laws of Christianity. Today, even though it served as a basis for languages such as Portuguese, Spanish, French, Italian, and similar, Latin is an extinct language. Now, the Italian language. Like Greek and Latin, Italian had great military, cultural, political, and religious influence. The structure of the Italian Empire took the country's language to different nations and made Italian one of the most important lingua franca in the world. Nowadays, spoken in 12 countries, Italian isn't a primary language like in the past. Now, the French language. French was and still is one of the most important languages spoken in the world. Today, it's the official language of the United Nations. In the African continent, it is still the main lingua franca, used in all commissions in that area. Today, 35 countries have French as a first language. Finally, let's talk about English as a lingua franca. English is the largest language spoken at all world, more than 1 billion speakers. Around 57 countries have English as official language, including the United States of America, the most important and powerful country in the planet. But why this scenario? What are the reasons why English is the global language? The answers to these questions can be found in the influences that this country have on us. UK, the language precursor. It's notorious that the British Empire was very influential in the planet. Countries were colonized by England in all continents. The fact of the expansion of the empire around the globe may explain why English is currently the most successful lingua franca. After all, there are 57 countries in the world that have English as official language. But why French was not chosen since the language is spoken in 35 countries and is also present on our continent too? Maybe this is not enough to explain why English. What about money? After all, more than 30% of the world's wealth belongs to the USA and UK. That's a lot of money. The majority comes from business and technology. Taking into account economic power, European and Asian countries should have a widespread language as well as English speakers. After all, there are more rich countries in Europe and Asia than in English-speaking countries. What actually makes German, Spanish, and even Mandarin not replace English? Maybe this is not enough to explain why English. Certainly, the artistic content is decisive in this journey to find an answer to the question, why English? Every year, we are bombarded by artistic content produced by English speakers, specifically the UK and USA. Hollywood is the heart of cinema, Broadway is the heart of dramaturgy, and London is the heart of music. Only in 2018, UK and USA produced 65% of all artistic content made on the planet, leaving China in second place with only 90% of the slice of this great pizza called Earth. There are probably no arguments against this fact. The cultural importance of the UK and USA means that the English language is spread faster. In Brazil, English is often used, since on business until on marketing. Although present in many areas, English is far from being a lingua franca here. According to the British Council, in 2014 only 16% spoke English at an advanced level, a percentage that must be currently a bit bigger and higher in the future. Talking about future trends, it's expected the spread of English over the internet, and unlike the old lingua franca, the English will not die. It's possible that other languages born, but English will certainly continue to be a global language.